All right. Hey, what's up, guys? It is Tuesday, 6 o'clock, and you know what that means. It is the Young Pro podcast. And every week we bring interviews, we bring training content, we bring things that you need to know to help you level up your life, level up your business. And this week we have a good friend of mine who just busted through like not one, but two new ranks in our business. Really, really exciting stuff. Mr. Rayvon Self. I'll let him tell you where he's out of, because there's only one way to say it, and I might say it wrong, but hey, Ray, glad to have you back, man. You doing all right?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me on. And yes, we are out of money making Maryland.
That's right. That's right. M cubed. I'm trying to hashtag that M cubed. Or just, hashtag M3. All right. That's what it'll look like.
Either one works.
So last time I had you on, it was like right after the shutdown. I don't remember what month it was, but it was right after the shutdown. And we were all trying to, adjust. I think, were you and I on StreamYard, or were we on Zoom? Do you remember? I think we were on Zoom.
It was on Zoom.
Yeah. That's when we weren't even, we were like, let's get on and talk. I don't even know. And now it's like, we have like a logo and like all kinds of stuff.
We've evolved.
And so, yeah, we were just talking about it, but hey, you got the camera, you got you're looking. So last time you rapped. So maybe we're not going to talk. Maybe we were just going to drop some beats.
We just rap the whole time. Nobody wants to hear that.
No, probably not. Well, cool. But anyway, so no, you've had some success here lately. I mean, obviously, you've been doing well, but you've taken a big step. So when, and for anybody that might be just looking at this, story for the first time, who maybe don't know you, or not, maybe they just got started with us and they don't really know the nature of how things work in business or in our business. Sometimes it's like, okay, I just saw Ray go from whatever level he was at to like 2 or 3, or like all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, he's up here, and go, okay, what did you do last month? But if I was a betting man, it probably didn't start last month. It probably started way back. So what's transpired over the last, whatever time frame to help this growth happen?
Yeah. You're absolutely right, because, we always say that it's not about what you did that month, but it's about what you did 90 days prior. Right.
Yeah.
And so, things started to change, definitely habits. Right. And we talk about duplication a lot, but when you're looking to duplicate, how do you do that when nobody's following you? Right. How do you get things to work where everybody's on one accord, one page? And sometimes that's what's challenging for a lot of people. And Don Thompson always talks about, you got to lead yourself first, and then you'll be able to lead others. And so for me, I know that my favorite thing to say is that I step out of the way. Right. Everybody knows, or a lot of us know, and those who don't know, Ravaugn Self is my father. Right. And
who's that guy? What's his name?
Ravaugn Self. You're not familiar?
Donnell?
Yeah. So Mr. Self is my father, and I watched him. I watched him build, a multi-million-dollar business for himself, but not just that. Doing that with a team and teaching others how to do the same thing, right? And when you see done, I don't take it lightly, but what he taught me was to move out of the way. Get your folks, right? Get your team in front of people who are better than you. And that's the biggest thing that we were able to do that gave us the success, is just move out of the way, right? Somebody may have been trying to make, $6,000-7,000 in a month. Well, I haven't done that, but I can introduce you to the person who has done that multiple times over and over again.
Yeah. No, that's good. And a couple things. Now I will say back to, Darnell Self. I had a team member. He was on one of our calls, and he what did he say? He goes, I think I heard from Darnell Self. Like, he just butchered the name, and after the call, I was like, "Hey, man, like, you gotta fix that." But Anyway, but that's good because you work a full-time job, and might I add, probably some of the worst hours.
The worst.
Some of
Please
the,
don't remind me.
yeah, it's not first shift. It's not like, it's like the middle chunk of the most productive part of anybody's day. What hours are you working right now?
11 to 8. I'm usually off on Wednesdays, and the other days a toss up.
Okay.
So I'm always working weekends.
Yeah.
And
Well,
just
that's kind of like a retail type schedule. So it's like all
Mhm.
all of the best times people like to have off, you're working.
Yeah.
So, so for anybody that doesn't know, right, you hit a position that we call Silver Executive Director, right? So Executive Director is one of the top, positions in our compensation, and the Silver just means that you help two different teams achieve that, right? So when you talk about duplication, it's like, okay, you've essentially duplicated yourself twice. Now, probably more because there's more people on the team, but at least in terms of rank and position. So that's not a small feat. And then you look at your schedule, it's like, okay. And I remember you and I having a conversation a couple months back, and it's like, oh man, got a family and got the kids, and then they got to do their thing, and you got to make sure everybody's taken care of, and then you get off work and you're probably tired, and it's like, so what's it look like? What's the schedule look like, for you to make this happen?
Yeah. One thing my mentor, my dad, always tells me is you got to schedule your success. If you don't schedule it, it's not happening. And that's been a big thing for me doing it on a part-time basis because I don't have a lot of time. And when folks tell me that, hey, I don't have time, I'm like, yeah, you should see my schedule, dude. Right. But when I'm doing this, I'm scheduling the night before, sometimes nights before, just depending on what we have to do. And I put on there that I'm working between these hours so that I can see it. I try to put in a lunch break, but sometimes that moves around in retail. And so you can't literally say that, hey, I'm going to be available from 3 to 4 because you might have a whole bunch of customers from 3 to 4. I may have to do 2 to 3 on a lunch break.
Right.
So it's just communication being the biggest thing, right? Communicate with the team. And then using my mornings that I have available to do 3-ways, to do follow-ups. And I'm doing the same thing after work. I'll schedule, 15-minute blocks here to, hey, I know from 8:15 to 8:30, I'll be available. If you have any calls you need me to make, any 3-way calls, plug them in here because this is what I have available. Right.
So, two things. I've had people that I've talked to throughout the years, when they think about, building a team, they're like, just the idea of it, they're like, nope, that just sounds too much. I suppose in their head, they're like, that's too many people to deal with. I don't have that kind of time. That's kind of what some people say. And so my question to you is, with this schedule where, you don't have a lot of time, I mean, do you find that people are hitting you up, team members are hitting you up, prospects are hitting you up at all times of the day, and you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, where do I fit it in? Or are you giving them like, I'm only available this time to this time? Like, how does that work for you?
Yeah. You have to, one, have people respect your time. And so it's posture, right? And so you're approaching it like, hey, I have this time available. I want you to give me a call if you need me between these times. Now, if you call me at work and then I'm able to jump out real quick, then I'll do that. Right. And I do have that many times where people hit me up and I have to jump off to be available for them. Right. I'm not just going to, oh yeah, I'm at work, decline, but you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I'll jump out, and you do have to make it work and think about this. The future that you want to see is not going to happen if you keep doing what you're doing. And so I knew that if I didn't make sacrifices, if I didn't take out at least, 15 minutes right quick to answer the phone and say, hey, make an arrangement with my boss and say, hey, if I need a second, can I hop out? So I made arrangements with him to say, hey, if I sell a TV, right, because that's what they want, they win sales. If I sell a TV today, then will I have the freedom to be able to jump out and go on about if I don't have any customers? He's like, sure, man. You do
Nice.
that for me. So we've made arrangements there so we understands that, oh, if I step out of the building right quick, it's work. Right?
Gotcha. I like that. I like that. Yeah, because a lot of people, they just, and I, when I first started, I was working in a sales office in the insurance world, and same kind of vibe. I mean, I was pretty, for the most part, free to left, to do what I want to do, but there were certain parameters that I needed to make sure that I, wasn't like trying to pitch customers Legal Shield or anything crazy like that. But like there were certainly certain things I was like, okay, here's what I can do, here's what I can't do, and it had to be like intentional with what I, the time. Do you think, and I've heard different people talk on this, and I don't know if there's like a hard answer to it, but I'd like to hear your opinion, right? Because I think you can get so far on this side of things where you're so available that your time is abused, and people don't respect your time, and then now your business is, and yes, sacrifice, but it gets too much into like family, and then that eats up family time, and it's easy to do, right? It's easy to do because we're not in an office and then we go home. It's like it's right here. You know what I mean? So on that side, you have, hey, I'm always available. We can always get it done. And then over here, it's like very structured. Hey, only this time and this time, and I don't take calls outside of that. What's your opinion on that? And how do you? I mean, you've kind of explained it, but
yeah, just to dive deeper into it, like you say, it's a fine line, right? It's a balance, and so at certain times, I'll give you times that I'm available for that day. And if I'm not available, if I'm doing something, then I'll let you know, like, hey, I have something going on after that. I may not be available, and I may not be available to pick up. I'm not the person who says, hey, I don't work on Sundays or anything like that, right? I know that that different people, different folks, different strokes, right? Some people are like, hey, Sunday is my day, right? Me and the Lord are resting, and we're just not going to we're not going to work today. but that's never been me, because I've seen how hard my dad worked, and I watched him build a business, and I watched him go through the struggles, and then I watched the harvest at the end. And so I was never the one to say, hey, I'm not available completely Sunday, right? But I do have folks again say, hey, respect my time, right? As I respect yours. And if I'm with my family, then I'm gonna, I'll jump out to do a 3-hour jump out for this, but it's gonna be quick, right? And so that's just that's where I'm at with it, right? It's no, oh yeah, I'm not doing calls today or not doing anything today,
right.
But I do let them know, like, hey, I'll be available for short spans and things, and not a 30-minute conversation.
What about this one? What about this one? Because I get this a lot. I think we all do. It could be somebody on your team. It could be somebody not on your team. That says, hey, can you talk to this person? And it's scheduled, and then they're running late. 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late. Oh, we're coming. How do you? I mean, and of course, it's probably case by case, but like, how do you generally deal with that?
Well, again, it becomes back to a respect our time thing, right? And if you're late, guess what? I have other appointments, especially because I'm so part-time. And so there's other things coming up after that I plan for. So if we have a meeting set for 8:00 and you're showing up, oh, I'm here at 8:15. Well, we've already run over my time because I only plan to be here for 30 minutes. Right. So now I've got to run. Let's reschedule. But my prospect is on its way. Hey, listen, we're going to send him a video that he can take a look at and get the same information that we got. We'll follow up, back up with him later. Yeah. And that builds respect in your business, right? I mean, they'll respect you for, oh man, well, since they were running late, they missed out. It's a fear loss thing,
Yeah. Well, I think, especially when you're new, you just like, oh, I just got to get, a sale. I just got to get you just want it so bad where and I guess you have to do it this way. You got to, I've heard different people, you got to eat crow, you got to eat whatever for a while. You know what I mean? You got to, and at some point, you don't have to do those things anymore. So I get that too. But I asked that because I've done that, right? I've been just way too available. And it's just, my wife is like, man, you do all these things for all these people, and just, no one respects your time.
Yeah.
So I get that. And I think if you can get there mentally, the earlier you can get there, and not be so rigid like you said, but certainly have some parameters, people will respect your time a bit more. And you, more than anything, you have respect for yourself more, right? Because it's like, hey, I respect my family, and I set this time aside, so okay, now it's time to make a shift or whatever. So I like that. And for anybody out there that is full time in our business, quote unquote, I would challenge you to do an inspection of how you're spending your day. So we all have wasted moments, wasted minutes. So kind of listen to Ray here, how he doesn't have time. Sometimes that can be a useful tool, right? So yeah,
Right.
yeah. Well, very cool, very cool. So hit this new level. So I mean, we're 6 days into the new month. 6 days into the new month. Now I know that one of those is probably the other half of the dynamic duo, huh, Mr. Malik?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Who's the other gentleman or lady that hit it?
So Michael Bird, he's out of the New Jersey market.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Michael Bird. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, I'm so proud of him and all the work that he's done. And his team is just growing, continuing to produce. And so we're so proud of him and Malik Self and all the work that they've put in. I mean, they're both rock stars. And the great thing is that for folks like that, you really get to watch them grow, right? You get to watch them groom leaders and help them to bring people up to the next level. And so that's just what's been the most fun for me, right? To watch them evolve. We're all growing together.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. It's definitely a process.
I think Malik, he's just a handsome guy. I think that's just, he's got that going for him,
He just walks up and says, "Hey."
Yeah, like, right.
Let's be a part of Malik Self's team, right?
They're like, whatever you're doing, I'm there. How long has Michael Bird been in the business?
So he was in before. He was in back when it was prepaid legal, right?
Oh wow, yeah.
And then rejoined back in, I believe, 2010, 2011 or so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I got one of those stories. It was actually one of my first directors in the business back in 2009, 2010. Made it to director, and then life happened, went different directions. Rejoined back in December, really got going end of December, 1st of January, is crushing it. So that's pretty cool, when people come back around, and you just never know where life's going to take you, where business is going to take you. But that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So what's some upcoming goals, right? What's your goal for the month? What's some team goals that maybe you guys have talked about?
Yeah. So what's crazy is that we have a morning call every morning from 8:30 to 9 o'clock.
Okay.
So Monday through Friday, we have that call. What we do is we hop on there, and actually got to give credit to Will Dazzy, because he's the one who gave me the idea last year. We just didn't start implementing it until the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
And so, and here's what I'd say too: before you go out and set up a call, talk to your upline leadership, because that's what I did. I went to my dad, right? Upline ED, upline platinum, upline everything.
Yeah, right.
Dad, right?
Dad, yeah.
So I went to him and said, "Hey, I got this idea from Mr. Dazzy to do this call in the morning. And what do you think?" He said, "Hey, anything that builds culture is a great thing to do. So I don't mind it." And that's another thing that we saw to really start to bring us together, bring us close. And I say that to say is that our goal is we talk about them every morning. So it's not just once a month or in the beginning of the month, but we talk about them every morning. We go over, we read the book of the month. Once we read the book of the month, like last month, it was the Law of Divine Compensation.
Okay.
And so we read that book. Is an excellent book, right? But brought us together. We read for about 15 minutes. The last 15 minutes of the call, we will all give our activity. And of course, what that did is keep us all focused on what goals we're hitting, right? Because sometimes you can get wrapped up in your work day. You can get bogged down. I mean, I have 2 kids at home. I'm thinking like, what do I got to do for the day? Hey, let's settle down, right? Let's have a routine that we do every single morning and get us into gear. And so to answer your question, as far as the goals that we have, we're definitely working with the team for them to be not only executive qualified, but move up to create another leader, right? Be bronze.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking to see Malik and Michael Bird do the same thing, and working on building another power leg as well. So,
Yeah. You got to keep it coming. So hey,
keep
Malik, you heard it or heard it. All right. So let's talk about that morning call. So you guys do that 5 days a week. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And at 30 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so as everybody kind of go around, so you read the book, and does everybody go around and say, hey, what my goals are for the day, or what's that like?
Yeah. So it's not an accountability partner thing. I leave that separate. You have to get your own accountability partner to keep you accountable. But it's just straight up. I'm reading like maybe a page or two, something that touched me that morning, and I'll share. And then I'll say, hey, anybody else who wants to share, go ahead and open up. You can either share on what I just shared, or you can read your own quote just to motivate us. And they'll hop on and say, hey, well, this is what blessed me this morning. Nobody can stop a man or woman who will not quit, whatever it is. And after that 15 minutes has passed, then we'll jump straight into the activity and say, okay, well, now let's get into the activity portion. For me, I have 2 appointments scheduled today, one at 3. I have another one at 8. I'm looking to close them out. I have to follow up with 10 to 15 people today. And so we are all going over our activity and what our plans are. And some people even mention, I'm looking to be PC Pro, today, just closing out. I have $100 in premium. I want to close out the other 100 today. And so everybody's just kind of going around, and it's just fun energy, and we knock it out.
I like that. I like that for a bunch of reasons. One is sometimes when we get together with team members or whatever, we ask people, what did you do? But not too often do we get together and go, hey, what are you going to do moving forward? What are you going to do today? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to make that proclamation like, hey, I'm going to go and make 10 phone calls. So then instead of going, hey, how many calls did you make? Yeah, I don't know. It's like, how many calls are you going to make? 10. So then it's pretty simple the next day. How'd it go?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So I really like that. I really like that. And so how much, maybe this is hard to tell. I don't know. How much of the success that you guys have been having as a team all together do you think is attributed to this morning routine?
I think it's a big thing. Myself and Mr. Bird were talking the other day, and he was like, I don't know if everybody would have stayed as plugged in if we didn't have this call.
Right.
Meaning that I don't know if we would have hit executive. Sure, we had the production, but did the production come from them just doing it based off of what they were going to do anyway? Or did the production come from them, like you said, right, proclaiming it, saying, hey, I'm going to do this, and then actually sticking with it and doing it?
Right.
And so it's the accountability of having a team, and you feel obligated to that team. The March Madness thing was another push, right? We find incentives each and every month, and the March Madness was definitely a big help because everybody wanted that bonus, right? so
right. Well, I've heard people say that, leadership is getting people to do something that they wouldn't do had you not been there. Right. Mm-hmm. So, maybe it's an extra 10%, maybe it's an extra 20%, maybe it's an extra 50%, it hard to quantify. Yeah. Right. But for sure, like you said, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people that like stuck around and maybe did a little bit more because they were a part of that group for sure. So that, and here's the other thing, right? So, for most, I don't know, many, I don't know what word you wanted to describe it, but for a lot of people, like they've never done anything like this. They've never done sales. They've never been self-employed. They've never done, network marketing. They never, you know what I mean? Like it's all kind of new. And for a lot of people, they need to learn how to be self-employed, which is just the act of employing yourself and kind of making sure you do what you need to do every day. That's hard for a lot of people. Like a conversation I'm having with a few of my guys, they're like, what's a 1099? What's this mean? What are these numbers? And it's like, okay. You know what I mean? And they made some money. So like, we gotta help them out on that. Right. So there's just like all these conversations that like, unless you're getting together with your squad some way on a regular basis, you're just not even going to have these conversations. So yeah, I love that. But yeah, that's a good problem to have. Hey, I made this money. What do I do?
Quick plug. I have I got an app called Hudler. I heard about it from Brian Carruthers, and
how HUDDLER or
HUDLER, Hudler. And what it does is it goes through your bank account and tracks all of your transactions. You get to say whether this is a normal transaction for me, and if it is a business or personal.
Yeah.
And that's how I was able to tag my income and expenses.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. So yeah, I know there's some other things out there. Like I use, and I suppose I still use it to a much lesser degree. Mile IQ works that way for mileage. You know, it GPS tracks where you go, and then you swipe, you know, is it personal? Is it business? So that's cool. HUDLER. All right.
And it has the same thing in Hudler as well. So the mileage is tracked into there too.
Oh, okay. Okay. Awesome. Is that a free or a paid app?
I want to say that it is free, but I mean, honestly, I might have been paying for it and not even know it.
Yeah. That's.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's spelled HURDLR.
HURD. What? So one more time.
Like hurdler. HURDLR.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go check out that today. You got a referral link?
I don't, but you know, I want to say where it actually came from was when you got Brian Carruthers' Empire's Pro Builders, like the app. Then Hudler came with it.
Ah, okay.
So when I did that like years ago, Hudler came with it, and I just kept using Hudler.
Okay.
I'm like, I love it.
Yeah. You got it.
Hurdler, whatever.
Hurdler. Yeah, you gotta do something.
Yeah,
you gotta do something. You can't just get to the end of the year and go, I don't know.
Right.
I mean, if you didn't make any money, I guess, but
I mean, it's a good problem to have to track your money. You know?
Yeah.
You don't have any money to track, that's a bad deal.
Right. Exactly. Well, that's great. I mean, anything that you might add, you know, for anybody out there that's watching that, you know, maybe a part-time, they're like, okay, well, outside of what we've already talked about, maybe something that you would say, hey, they need to know this, or maybe anybody that is trying to make the push to executive, or maybe they're executive and they got some team, or obviously they're qualifying, you know, want to take the next step. I mean, anything that we haven't talked about that you might add as a tip or just general wisdom for anybody in those positions.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody is in my position, but I know that people can relate. And so when I first started, I had self-esteem issues for most of my life, right? And that was because I looked up to my dad as such a mogul, right? As somebody that was like, yo, I want to be just like that. And when things didn't really go my way in the beginning, because I had these self-esteem issues, it got me down, right? And I'm talking about like early, you know, I was 18 when I first started in the business, but who knows that you can actually have a gym membership and not actually be lifting. So that's what I equate my early start in Legal Shield to.
Yeah.
But what I'll say is that, you know, through personal development, reading every day, growing myself, even though I had these self-esteem issues, it helped me to build those things. It helped me to really hone in on what was the problem and focus and track that. And so if I'd say anything, it would be focus on personally developing yourself, because then you become the person that you really can look up to. You know,
be the person that you can look up to.
Yeah.
I like that.
And so I I just really say focus on building yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because then you can build others. How are you going to build somebody else and you can't build yourself?
Right.
And so that was a huge focus. And then continuing to get others to do it, right? Not just you. And again, this call has been powerful to talk to everybody, because guess what? If you come to the call and you don't give us something that blessed you, then people may believe that you're not reading, right?
Yeah.
And that can become a problem, right? If and just internally, not me calling you out or anything, but you may call yourself out and say, hey, I'm not sharing, right? So the next time we may hear you speak up because you felt like, hey, I don't want to be left out on this. Let me read the chapter. Let me read the next chapter so that I can come to the call with something.
I like that. That's good. Well, very good. So for anybody out there, obviously this is the Young Pro podcast, and we have this little event next week, just a tiny event, something like a international convention, company-wide. It's the place to be next weekend. But the Thursday before is the Young Pro breakouts, and that's going to be 8 o'clock Thursday night. It says 8 to 10. Don't let the 10 scare you. It's a question mark is what it is. All right, we'll go until the last man standing. But you can go that. So I'll give everybody the link. It's youngproshowcase.com to catch the live stream. However, if you want to be the VIP backstage pass section, it's free. You want to go on over to ypcompound.eventbrite.com. If you're one of the first 100 people to register, you can get backstage VIP status. I think we're at like 60% capacity, so maybe about 40 slots left, maybe a little bit less, if you're seeing this right now. But that's where it's going to be. It's going to be a great time. And, hey, you might even see Ray rap. So you never know.
You never know what you're going to see.
All right, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate you hopping on. You have an excellent day. And for everybody out there, we'll be back next Tuesday. We have someone else that we're going to have on who just crushed a new income level, and that's going to be a great story. So, Ray, appreciate it, brother. You guys take care.